and we met these girls from the Afghan women's cricket team in Melbourne, and then realized that, after the Taliban takeover, they all had to run away from Afghanistan to save their lives. These are all dealing with, religion and culture and, countries, different countries. So, and yet, I've managed to stay away from any major controversy till now. Firstly, I don't identify or, think of myself as a Muslim person. Religion does not actually define you.
Yeah.
It's part of you. It's part of your heritage. It's part of your culture, but it cannot define you as a person. Vicky's one of the finest actors we have, and Vicky's family to me. I'm extremely close to Vicky and Katrina. Every time you meet actors, we just keep ideating.
Sure.
I keep ideating with Karthik. I keep ideating with all the actors I keep meeting. Zoya was never less than Tiger.
Yeah.
And Zoya had to be at par with Tiger. Zoya was, you're absolutely right, one of the first sort of real action actors, and she really kicked ass in Tiger.
Hello everyone, welcome to News 18. I am Titas Chowdhury in conversation with Mr. Kabir Khan. Hi sir.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, absolutely fine.
So sir, I watched the trailer of My Melbourne. I just want to know, how did Melbourne become the fulcrum of the story?
So that was actually how it all started, right? It started with Neetu, who, as you know, runs this very fabulous festival in Melbourne.
Right.
And she reached out and she got in touch with me and she said, I'm trying to do an anthology about, various aspects of the city of Melbourne with 4 different directors. Would you, want to be a part of this? And it sounded very interesting. I've never done a short film in my life. I've done documentaries and then I did straight away feature films. So I said, yeah, why not? I've never done a short film. Sounds interesting, provided we find a great story. And that's how the process began. And we shared a few stories. Meetu kept sending a few ideas because they're all meant to be based on real stories. And then I actually discovered the story when I went to Melbourne for the festival, because 83, my film was getting the Best Film Award there. And I went with Kapil Dev. And we met these girls from the Afghan women's cricket team in Melbourne, and then realized that, after the Taliban takeover, they all had to run away from Afghanistan to save their lives. And Melbourne has played host to the entire Afghan women's cricket team. So I said, that's a fascinating story. And so my story is actually about this young girl, Sitara, who's playing herself. And it's about how this girl had a dream of playing for the Afghan women's cricket team, and then her dreams were, smashed because Taliban came in, and then how Melbourne is helping her realize her dream all over again.
Was it easy? How easy or difficult was it to really convince her to play herself?
It wasn't at all. Actually, I saw her and I said, she has such a beautiful face. And I told Sitara that, your face has a story. I think, I said, nobody else can play you, because in the cricketing, on the cricket field, nobody will be able to bowl the way you do. She's a fabulous bowler. So I said, I have to use her as an actor. And she was more than willing. She was a little nervous in the beginning, but, we did a workshop with her and we made her comfortable with the camera, and she was truly a star.
Was there ever a thought, though, of casting an actor maybe to play her?
Initially, the thought did arise, because we said, she's not an actor, she's a cricket player, how will she act? But once I met the girl, I knew immediately that, no, she has to play herself. The film is called Setara, and she is Setara. And Setara means a star, right?
Yes.
So she's genuinely a star.
Fabulous. So, your short, especially, I think it deals with, of course, religion, ethnicity, race. Do you think, sir, it can get tricky whenever religion comes into the picture?
I think it's all about how you manage to tell the story. It's all about how you present the story. A lot of my films, whether it's Kabul Express, whether it's New York, whether it's Ek Tha Tiger,
Bajrangi,
these are all dealing with,
religion.
Religion and culture and, countries, different countries. So, and yet, I've managed to stay away from any major controversy till now. I think it's because ultimately you have to be able to tell the story in a certain way where you get your point across and not make it unnecessarily provocative or unnecessarily controversial. Ultimately, all our stories are human stories, and if you feel for the characters, then everything else is a backdrop. It's in the layers beneath. And that's what really works. That's what worked in all these films. And in Sitara too, there's nothing that you will find amiss, or you'll ever be able to say that, okay, this is not sounding correct or not sounding right.
But do you think sometimes your gaze as, let's say, a Muslim person, that helps sometimes to probably render more layer to the character, to the plot?
Not sure. Firstly, I don't identify or, you know, think of myself as a Muslim person. I feel I'm a very middle of the road, I'd like to believe sensitive person who has a certain understanding of, you know, the politics and dynamics of a multicultural society. That's the way I've grown up. You know, I'm a product of a mixed marriage. I've seen best of both the worlds. So I have always looked at it from a human prism and seen that and realized that religion does not actually define you.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of you. It's part of your heritage. It's part of your culture, but it cannot define you as a person. There are so many other aspects to an individual than just religion. And that's the way I've always dealt with them in my films. And that's the reason I think why, you know, I've got a large section of people have identified with the way I've portrayed them in all my films and have never felt offended by the things that I've said.
You spent, I think, some time in Afghanistan when
Yes.
you were doing documentaries, war
Yes.
documentaries. I remember you saying that while you were making Kabul Express, I think there was a Taliban attack,
Yes.
something that happened. How did all of that, you probably going to Afghanistan, seeing life there, the Taliban infiltration, how did that shape your perspective?
Not just not just my years in Afghanistan. Of course, I spent a lot of time in Afghanistan because not only did I do some of my significant documentaries over there, I also did my first feature film. I shot Kabul Express, was shot exclusively, totally in Afghanistan. But I think what shaped me is my entire documentary experience of traveling around the world with a very seasoned journalist called Saeed Naqvi. And we, traveled to 60, 70 countries. And that entire experience made me realize of how, ultimately there's no gospel truth. It's about perspectives. It's about, how you are approaching the story. And that enabled me to understand different perspectives of people, different points of views of people. And that allowed me to explore that in my films. Whether it's Kabul Express, or whether it's New York, or whether it's Bajrangi, or whether it's even Ekta Tiger. These are about looking at the same thing from two different perspectives and not being judgmental about which perspective is correct.
Absolutely.
Because from their point of view, they're all correct. I think that's the sort of interesting aspect of storytelling when it comes to these films, where you can look at different perspectives and not judge them.
Absolutely. I mean, perspective in itself is subjective. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was speaking to Imtiaz, sir, when all of you were in Melbourne, this time around for the film festival. So he said something very interesting that, as filmmakers, all of us, there's this deep sense of brotherhood among all of us. We are never insecure of each other. We are always rooting for each other. And Shoojit, sir, had also said that Imtiaz, I think you were also from Delhi. So you all were like a group back then.
Yes.
How important is this sense of brotherhood?
It's very important, and Imtiaz is absolutely right. Fortunately, as a group of directors, we're never sort of insecure or are never sort of envious of anybody else's success. I think it just makes us happy that somebody's film has done well, somebody's film has sort of reached a certain level, and because at the end of the day, it's not a race.
Yeah.
You can look at it as a race and get all insecure and all sort of envious about things, but it's not a race. We're all telling stories. At the end of the day, when we sort of pack up and, hang up our boots, we're all leaving behind a certain legacy. We're all leaving behind a certain body of work, which is, a film is such a powerful medium. These are films that will be seen and viewed and judged for years to come. And that's the long-term sort of view that you have to have on your work. You can't look at your work from one film to another. Arey, ye bahut badi hit hai. Arey, ye hit nahi hui. That's not the way to look at your... I think we are all blessed as filmmakers that we are doing something that we all love doing. Never in a day in my life have I ever felt that I'm working. I'm only like following my passion, and people are actually paying me good money to follow my passion. What more can you ask for? So, and also I feel, when we interact as filmmakers and that's like, I like to mention Melbourne also. When you meet in places like Melbourne and these kind of platforms, you actually genuinely get to spend a lot of time with each other. Bombay mein hum log nahi milte hain itna
I can
zyada.
imagine.
So it really helps because there's nothing like bouncing stories off each other and getting their inputs. That really enriches the whole, the subject or the story that you might be working on. And at least in my experience, I've seen that people are very open-hearted and in wanting to discuss and explore the idea with you and help you sort of take it further.
Ahead,
So
yeah.
absolutely, I think Imtiaz and Shoojit and all these guys are absolutely right when they say that meeting, directors, when we all meet, it's actually a very enriching experience.
But you go back a long way. Even
We
before, I
do
think
a
all of
lot
you
of,
actually became
yeah.
Bollywood filmmakers,
Yeah,
right?
a lot of actually, I think within the gap of about 4-5 years, if you look at it, a lot of people from Delhi University, whether it's me or whether it's Imtiaz Ali or whether it's Anurag Basu or Anurag Kashyap or whether it's Shoojit Sircar or whether it's Dibakar Banerjee, all of us have actually come from Delhi within a space of 4 to 5 years.
Did you know these people
A
back
lot
then?
of them have worked. I mean, I have shot corporate films for Shoojit. Shoojit has
Wow.
edited corporate films for me.
Lovely.
We've done a lot of that. Dibakar and I have worked on projects. Jaideep Sani and I have worked on projects. We all used to actually work out of one studio for some time.
That's a strong little community.
Yeah.
What's next for you?
So next, actually, I'm right now in what I'd like to call the development phase because there were 2-3 ideas that we've been, I'd been very excited about, but I decided let me take about 6-7 months off before I jump into another production, because what happens is that the moment you jump into a production, then it gets so sort of, you get so involved in it that you really can't develop a story. So I've just taken about 6 months off where I'm just developing these stories. I think another 2-3 months, we would have brought these stories up to a certain point that we're happy, and then I'll be able to maybe announce in the
There are
next
some
3
reports that you might be collaborating with Vicky Kaushal. Is it true?
I mean, Vicky's one of the finest actors we have, and Vicky's family to me. I'm extremely close to Vicky and Katrina, so I would love to work with Vicky. But at the end of the day, as directors and actors, we keep discussing ideas. There's nothing concrete right now that I can say yes, we're doing it. But I've been speaking to him. I've been speaking to Salman. I've been speaking to every time you meet actors, we just keep ideating.
Sure.
I keep ideating with Karthik. I keep ideating with all the actors I keep meeting. But as I said, I'm still working on some ideas, and I would say that it'll take at least another 3 months or 4 months for me to announce what I'm doing next.
Great. Just last one. Since you mentioned Katrina, you, I think, sort of really helped the Indian audience view Katrina in a very different way, in the sense she's, I think, one of the first mainstream action heroines, that we had. Be it your Phantom, Ek Tha Tiger, New York for that matter. Has there ever been a thought to, let's say, make an actioner headlined by a woman completely?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. Again, it all depends on if I get a story like that, which I feel excited about. As you rightly said, I think Zoya, in my mind, when I was writing Tiger, Zoya was never less than Tiger.
Yeah.
And Zoya had to be at par with Tiger. When they're doing action together, also she's blow for blow, punch for punch. Literally, she was at par with Tiger, and that's the way I like creating my women characters. So yeah, I think Zoya was, you're absolutely right, one of the first sort of real action actors, and she really kicked ass in Tiger. So I would love to. I think ultimately it's not. See, I'll never approach a film with the idea, okay, let me make a film so that I can showcase a woman.
Got
I will react to a story, and if that story needs a woman doing action at par with any of our male stars, I would love to do it.
Great. Looking forward to that and everything that is in store. I'm waiting to watch My Melbourne, actually.
Yeah, it's a sweet film.
Yeah.
And Sitara is a film that I really enjoyed making. Can't wait for people to see the star called Sitara.
So this week it's releasing in New Zealand and
Yes,
Australia, and
yes.
next week India.
Yes,
Looking
yes.
forward. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Kabir Khan, and you're watching me on News 18.